What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3. We love it. We are so excited to be doing this, man. You have no idea how thankful we are for those that are listening to the simple roadmap. When we're creating this, we were thinking, all right, what value can we give to everybody? And as many of you know, we are in real estate. I'm a real estate agent, and Oli is a lender.
I'm a finance guy.
And here in San Diego, because of what we have built, we're top people in the industry here in not just San Diego, but Southern California. And the reason we created the simple roadmap is not just real estate. We don't want people to think this show is just about real estate. It's literally to help you, to influence you, to motivate you, to create that positive mindset that you can achieve whatever it is, no matter how big or small. Because whatever, I might have something that might be small to me, but that might be big to you. Nonetheless, if it's important to you, that's the point of the show. We want to show you how the simple roadmap is created. And any roadmap you want, it can be simple. It's just, don't overcomplicate things. So thank you again. Episode 3, simple roadmap. Now, we've talked about mindset. We've talked about habits, but we are in the real estate industry. And one of the most common things, because of how the market is right now, is we keep hearing,
what's the question?
When is the crash coming?
When is it coming?
When's the real estate crash coming? I mean, it already happened
tomorrow?
in 2008. That's what, 12, 14 years ago. We're due for one,
Is it coming
right?
tomorrow?
No.
It's not coming tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow.
No, there's no
I
crash?
think it's, I don't think it's coming.
It's never.
Okay? Now,
ouch.
Do not prosecute us because these are strictly our opinions based on the current data that's out there, the analytics that are out there, the historical data. I'm a guy that looks at data. That's it. When it comes to business, that's what I do. And I've actually, sometimes when I can't sleep, I look at that stuff.
He doesn't have a life.
I don't.
All he does is study.
That's it. And I'm a nerd like that. And so I actually went back and looked at 100 years of real estate data.
Nice.
Nationwide, not just here in our area. Now, a lot of people say, well, you know what? Every 12 years, a crash happens. The crash is coming. We are at year 12 since the last crash happened. Now, my personal opinion, there is no crash coming. What do you think?
In California, okay, I'll just speak to California because we've all had clients, you and I, throughout California. In California, the problem with the crash not happening is inventory.
Yeah.
It's hard. So I just think I would challenge anyone that says that crashes come into California. Yeah, maybe home prices don't increase at the level that they've been over the past year. Because I saw a report from CoreLogic, like San Diego is 22%.
Yeah.
National average is 18%. CoreLogic had San Diego at 22%, Phoenix at 31%. So home prices are going to continue to go up, in my opinion, just because of the lack of inventory. I saw a stat that said we would have to build 80,000 homes for the next 10 years to be able to catch up on the inventory gap in California, and we're building 30 per year.
To give you an example, here in San Diego County, if starting today, if every single home were to sell, and no other home between now and 3 weeks were to come to sell, there'd be no more homes to buy in San Diego County. That's how low the inventory is.
Scary.
But there's buyers. There's tons and tons of buyers out there because interest rates are still super low. So you got one house for sale with 10 to 20 families fighting over it.
Right.
There's not enough inventory. Now,
there was 30 last year.
Yeah.
So I think that's the perception that most people, like, if you're not in the industry, I think that's the scary part because, like, 30 offers were going in last year.
Yep.
Now 10. 10 is still
It's still amazing.
lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people you're competing against.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The most I've gotten on a property was about 30 offers.
Wow.
It was just regular cookie cutter home in a city called Wildemar over by Murrieta.
There you go.
We were asking $550, which, mind you, when I went to the listing appointment, my client said, I only want $525. And I said, hey, let's list it at $550. He was like, man, that's risky. I don't know. I said, let me do my thing. Mind you, you know me when it comes to marketing, and I go all out. I don't care if it's a $200,000 condo or a $2 million home.
You can't tell the difference.
No, I will go all out. Because why? Because it is the most valuable asset in your portfolio, which makes it the most valuable asset for me to handle for you. if that makes sense.
Bro, that's
so I'm gonna
somebody's
treat
home.
it like that.
It's somebody's
their
home. It doesn't matter.
And they called me to sell it.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do the very best for them. So we went all out, just like any other home. We the marketing, the social media, hard mail, videos, photography. Somebody saw the video that I did on that property in LA County. Mind you, this is in Riverside County. This family drove from LA to Riverside, and we sold it for $100,000 more than the highest comp and over asking, because we would have been the highest comp at $550, and we closed escrow at $650.
Oh, wow.
And that's how crazy the market is. And it's still that crazy. I got another one here in Escondido, right? Highest comp, $645. We listed it at $650. We're in escrow well, actually, by the time this episode airs, we'll close. So we're in escrow at $700, $50,000 over.
Yeah.
Okay. The market is still hot. Now, CoreLogic, right? Data analytics. What I'm looking at, from all the analytics that I'm looking at, the average that home prices are still going to go up. It's going to get cut in half, but it's still great. The expected price that it's going to go up is, percentage is 11%.
Easily.
In 2022, home prices are still expected to go up by 11%. So, number one, if you're on the fence of buying a house because you think prices are going to drop, I'm telling you right now, it's not. Home prices are leveling off. But even then, at 11%, that's still a big increase. So imagine buying a house this month, and a year from now, let's say you buy it at $700,000. A year from now, it's going to be worth $800,000. Technically, $777,000 based on the numbers, but the market's still going to be hot. Imagine having a $100,000 return on your investment, and then you go out and you can do whatever you want with it, or just let it grow.
Well, and from a financing perspective, you're going to buy, even if home prices stayed the same, you're still going to pay more for a home because interest rates are going to go up.
Yep.
So the whole point is it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Home prices in San Diego, especially, are going to continue to go up. San Diego is number one right now. Mm-hmm. It's 22%. Home prices have gone up in the past year. How is that going to slow down? Where's the inventory going to come from? So I think it's a lot of media, in my opinion, that hypes up crash is coming. It's fun. It gets your attention. That's what we did to open up the podcast.
Yeah.
Market crash is coming tomorrow. Well, and that's where, let's talk about experts, because people talk about all the time the right team that you work with does matter. Why is, in a competitive market, in your professional opinion, you're one of the upper echelon realtors in the North County area in San Diego? Your top 250?
Top 250 in the county. For 2019, what year are we in? Jesus,
2022.
No. So for 2020. I was ranked top 250 Hispanic agent in the nation, number 47 in the Southwest United States, top 200 in the county for the last 2 years, and then top 300 in the state.
So you're an expert, and
I know my shit.
Exactly. So you're looking at the market. What do you think? Is the media right? The crash is coming to California. Is there any remote possibility that home prices at the end of this year are going to go down?
No. Now, absolutely not. And here's why. Let's talk about what caused the crash. Because one of the things, and I have great friends, and I hope you're listening to this, because you and I have gotten into it. Oh, it's going to crash. And I keep trying to tell you it's not going to happen. Why? Because what caused the market to crash back in 2008 cannot happen, because it's illegal now. There's laws, Sarbanes-Oxley, whatever it's called, right? What was happening back then, there was mortgage-backed securities, right? You take these loans that were being sold off as their prime loans with a 620 or 660 credit score when it was bullshit, and then you sell it to investors. Hey, look, I'm gonna sell you a $50 million real estate portfolio for $2 million,
and it's worth.
But it's really worth nothing, because everybody's using these option arms, and they're paying the bare minimum. They're paying $1,000 a month for a home that was $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. So what happens? The balance continues going up, eating into that equity, and then equity stops growing, and then you're screwed. That can't happen anymore, and it will not happen again. Now, the other one that I'm hearing is, well, and what about inflation? Look, excellent point, inflation. However, when you buy a house right now, if inflation continues going up, but your payment is set for the next 30 years, that means you can keep your home. Your home is safe and sound. Now, if inflation causes your home price to drop, that's perfectly fine. At least you still have a home. Because historically, what's going to happen? Let's say you buy your house for $500,000, and then by next year it goes up to $600,000.
Your payment's still the same, bro.
Yeah, but now inflation went through the roof, and now prices start coming down, and now your house is only worth $500 again, or maybe even $450. It's okay. At least you still have a home. Your payment is still set. And historically, and what's guaranteed to happen is there's going to be a correction, and the house eventually will again be worth 500, 550, 600, 700, 800,000.
Because that's fabricated value. Your home isn't going down if you put it on the market. You know, I heard the smartest thing that an agent told me one time. They're like, nobody has ever regretted buying a house in California.
Nope.
Nobody buys a house that says, man, I never should have bought this house. It just doesn't happen.
And I'll tell you this, leave it, do what all right, for example, I got friends that play the stock market. I got one friend who only invests what Nancy Pelosi invests. If you don't know, you can see what politicians are required to disclose what stocks they're buying. And that's what this dude does. He goes on and he looks at what Nancy Pelosi bought and he buys whatever she bought. Okay. It's the same thing. He's doing what the rich people are doing. Why? Because if the rich people are doing it, then something's going to happen.
She doesn't have insider information at all.
Oh, of course not. Absolutely not. There's no insider information.
Because Nancy Pelosi is by far one of the most ethical people.
Well, it's the same thing with real estate. If there's a trusted real estate agent that you wholeheartedly trust and you see that individual buying homes in this market, don't you think it would be smart to also pull the trigger? And guess what my goal is today? You know it. I want 3 investment properties this year.
Absolutely.
Are prices high? Fuck yeah. They're stupid high. Are they going to continue going up?
Yes.
Absolutely. So why am I going to have my money sitting around when I can instead put it into something that's going to cause it to grow?
People are going to be shocked that I say this, but San Diego is underpriced.
Yes.
San Diego is underpriced. Look at Los Angeles. Yep. Look at the Bay Area. San Diego is underpriced. So, a lot of families that I talk to, first-time home buyers, it's an investment. It really is. I would say if you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks about, that your home, your primary residence, the home you live in, is a liability because it doesn't generate revenue. Yes, I agree with that to a certain degree. It doesn't generate revenue, but you're still going to pay rent. And rent is up, I think, 11, 12%.
Yep.
Right now, it's going to continue to go up because we have a housing shortage. So what's easy ways that you can protect yourself against inflation, which is going to increase, it's going to continue to increase, is by you lock in fixed debt. Lock in fixed debt. Fixed debt means that it's not a variable interest rate. It's not going to change. Your payment isn't going to stay the same. So regardless of if the home you bought it at $600,000, 2 years from then it's worth $840,000. Your payment still is on the original loan that you took out if you haven't refinanced. So I think, it's really, really educating yourself about money.
Yep.
And that's what I love about the approach that we take to real estate. For us, it's not about real estate. It's also helping families find homes.
Yes.
But it's also education.
Yep.
Education. So the right team spends the time to educate you. They use technology to educate you. How much do we talk about experience? For me, it's all about the experience. For you, it's all about the experience. It's making sure a majority of your business is referrals, right?
Yeah.
Like out of every 10 families, how many of them were referrals?
Right now, 10.
See what I mean? Like the great people in our business and what we do, they are built on referrals because they know how to take care of people. And they spend the time to educate them about the market. Hey, you have fears about the San Diego market? You should. You should. It's a very competitive market. Is it tough to buy in a competitive market?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
How patient do you have to be? Like, what advice would you give families that wanted to buy, but they're scared? They're like, I'm going to overpay for a house. I'm going to do this. Like, what tips would you give if you wanted to buy in San Diego?
So I actually just had this conversation with a client we have. First, they weren't even sure if they would qualify for the loan. Worked with them, got them qualified. And that's another thing too. This is why you need to interview the people that don't just go with the recommendation. Even my referrals, I tell them, hey, I know so-and-so referred you to me and I'm very thankful. Have you talked to other agents? And other people are going to be like, that's the dumbest thing you can do in sales. Because I'm not in fucking sales. I'm in the business of helping
people.
That's it. So I actually encourage them. Hey, look, I encourage you to talk to other agents. You and I are going to be talking every day, either text, email, phone call, or all three every day until even after we close escrow, because there's still moving parts. And if you at any point feel that I'm not doing the right service for you, number one, I want you to fire me. And number two, just tell me what I did wrong. But you know what gives that ability to the buyer to fire me is the fact that I don't ask him to sign a contract. And I'm telling every individual, every person that is interested in buying a house, at least here in California, do not sign a buyer's agreement. Okay. Because you are stuck with that agent. And if you feel they're not doing you a good service, you're stuck unless they're willing to let you out of that contract. But if they're not willing, which believe me, I get calls like, hey, I have been working with so-and-so. And my first question is, did you sign a buyer's agreement? I did. How do I get out of it? Well, you have to talk to your agent, but I got to stop it right there. I'm going to remain ethical. I don't even want to know who that other agent is, but understand them. If you are able to get out of that buyer's agreement, then at that point, call me. But unfortunately, I can't help you right now. It's an ethical thing. And I'm always going to remain ethical. And I hate the fact that there's a lot of agents out there that suck in this business. So they make the client, they make the client sign a buyer's agreement.
Right.
And now that client is locked in for 6 months. And again, everything is negotiable. Understand that contracts are negotiable. But people don't realize that because they don't do this every day, right? So then they're stuck with that agent for 6 months and then they don't even get a home. What happened in those 6 months? Prices went up, interest rates went up, and now your purchasing power went down.
And you could have just lost altogether, because if you're borderline, I think this is what people, the number one advice I would give anyone in California that's really, really interested in home ownership is get your financing in a row and have a strategy for your finances. Because if you don't have your finances in order in California, it's going to be very, very challenging unless you got a lot of money to throw at it.
Yep.
So if you don't have a lot of money to throw at it, and it's tough to buy a house here, but it's all about the planning. And you said the smartest thing, which is, why would you lock yourself in and allow that person not to give the full effort? Mm-hmm. They're very, very best, because that's what you're talking about. The upper echelon realtors are very confident that they're going to deliver. They don't need they don't need the contract, right? Which is basically what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. Why? Because we know. And so I had a client that called and said, hey, I think we want to put things on hold. And I said, hey, look, we've only been at it for 2 months. And we are home searching, not just in San Diego County, but in the most competitive area of San Diego County. Number two, we're using a VA loan, which is my bread and butter. If you're in the military and you want to learn, VA. Me and Oli teach classes on the base without asking for anything in return, just showing the men and women who serve our country how they can leverage their VA to make it win for them. And if you're active duty, how you can, we teach the class how to be a millionaire using BH.
There you go.
It's that simple. If you want to know more, hit us up on our Instagram. But anyways, I told her the average time frame right now is 4 months for VA buyers.
That sounds about right.
Because you have no money down, very small deposit, and you're limited to you not being able to go above your loan amount unless obviously you have money to dump into it. But we're still winning for our VA clients. Out of the 45 deals we did last year, I would say maybe, I don't know, 75% were, I'm sorry, of home buyers that we represented last year, I would say 90% were VA. And we were still getting them into homes in a super competitive market in the most competitive areas. We were still making it happen. Why? Because it takes more than just putting pen to paper and sending an email and that's it.
Way more.
It's a relationship business. It takes reputation, the reputation we have, the Chacon Group, the reputation you have. Oli does lending. It takes it takes all that, right? When we submit an offer, you already know our spiel. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Listing Agent, this is who I am. This is who we are. I've actually sent a couple links. Look me up. We get things done. Then what do? You give them a call. This is who I am. We take our clients to the end, and it's not just looking out after our clients. We're all in it to win. We all want to succeed. So let's work as a team rather than, oh, you're the listing agent and I'm the buyer's agent, so fuck off. No, that's not how it works. We need to create relationships. And so that goes a long way. So what I told this client was, look, it's up to you. If you want to put it on pause, I understand. But the only thing that's going to happen is home prices are going to continue going up. And in 4 or 5 months, instead of having the conversation of let's start it back up, it's going to be like, we can't now. because home prices now are out of your range. And when we were looking at home and when we still had an opportunity, we were still within that possibility of your price point. But now we're beyond it, and there's nothing available in this community that you want.
And all you're going to do is create more stress for yourself and your family. But so this is, I would say there are markets where you can be patient and you can wait. This is one of those, if you're in a position to pull the trigger, you have to pull the trigger because nothing is going to work in your favor. The longer it goes, the more the home is going to cost you. And not only in price, but also your monthly payment.
And if you'd be surprised if, just like me, I bought my first house before I was in real estate.
Timing, baby.
Talk about it. In 2015, I finally said, I got to buy a house. I have to, right? This is getting ridiculous, paying this much rent when I could be paying it for a mortgage instead. But there's no way I can qualify, right? So the lender I was working with at that time, we met at a Starbucks. He pre-approved me. He told me, hey, congrats, you're approved for $450. And I was like, $450, almost $500,000? Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm not paying $500,000 for a house. He's like, no, that's what you're approved for. It doesn't mean you have to go that much. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is what I want my payment to be. And when I meet buyers, I always ask them, what payment do you want? And they say, I'm good with a house around $600,000 or $700,000. No. What payment do you want? San Diego County has about 17 different cities. Each city has their own tax rate. Then you have HOAs. You have something called Mello-Roos. You have all this other stuff. So a $600,000 house in this city is going to be way cheaper than a $600,000 house in this city because there's so many factors. That's why it's important to have a good team helping you and representing you on the
Asking the right questions.
Asking the right questions. So it's important that you understand why you shouldn't hold off on pulling the trigger. Because I'm telling you, with home prices still continuing to go up, that $600,000 home right now is not going to be 600 when you want to pick it up again because you think the market is going to crash. Statistics are telling us, statistics from good sources are telling us home prices are going to continue going up. The average that I'm seeing for 2022 is 11%.
Right.
But with rates going up, it's going to make it even more difficult. So if you're thinking of buying a house, get with whatever lender you want to work with and create that roadmap. Because like I said, I ended up buying, I was like, I want to be at 360. I'm not buying more than $360,000 because my payment's going to be at what I want comfortable. The house my wife wanted, we couldn't, we got outbid. Then she happened to be on one of those websites and she's like, hey, the house is available again. I was like, what the hell? Called my agent, who I'm his agent now.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Talk about the hens coming home to roost.
So, he calls me back and he goes, hey, I talked to the listing agent. They said they were at 380, so now they want 300. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm another 20,000. All right, let me call my lender. Call my lender. I'm like, hey, what will my payment be at 380 rather than 360? He's like, it'll probably be like $10 more.
Yeah.
Huh? He's like, yeah, it's 20,000 over 30 years. I was like, education. That's why we're here. We want to educate people. People don't realize that. I didn't realize it. And so I bought this house at 380 in June of 2015. In February of 2020, I sold it for 540.
I have an amazing question for you. I'm giving myself a pat on the back. This is an amazing question, folks. What would you say to a first-time home buyer, okay, and the team they're working with doesn't spend the time to educate them and teach them and answer all their questions that they have? What would your professional advice be if they didn't have a buyer's agreement?
Interview other agents.
How quickly would you do that?
ASAP, immediately, because again...
So kind of walk us through why...
Well, because look, if you're working with an agent or a team that, yes, we also miss out on opportunities. I mean, we have clients right now that, you know, it's just super competitive. But at the end of the day, again, going to statistics, we're 100%, they're getting keys eventually, right? But I would say that you need to interview other teams, other agents, other even lenders, because not all, especially for the type of loan. Especially for the type of loan.
And I'm 100% with you. I agree with you that it is, you interview both realtors and lenders.
Yep.
So at least 3. Get an idea who understands you.
And you know, we have a sheet of questions that we've created. If you guys want it, let us know. We'll send it to you absolutely free. We have questions because you don't know what to ask. So we'll give you the questions that you should ask. And you can ask us that or even more. Or ask other friends and family of who they use. Absolutely. The point is open, just like there are homes out there are agents out there. San Diego, I think, is at 25,000 real estate agents right now. Believe me, there are great agents and there are shitty agents out there. Don't get stuck with the shitty ones. Do your due diligence, okay? This is a process. And if you don't think, just like me, where I never thought I could be a homeowner because of how my credit was, I wasn't making that much money. The government, believe me, does not pay you that well.
They don't?
Absolutely
what are you talking
not.
about? I heard they pay really well.
You want to make sure that your finances are in order because that's what's going to dictate also what you can and cannot buy. Especially if you're going to go FHA, if you're a first-time home buyer, or you're VA and you want to start a small, simple home like a condo or a townhome. A lot of people don't know that whole building, the complex, has to be approved by the VA or the FHA.
Right.
And if you're going into if you're using an FHA loan, and here you have a lender that's not too familiar with FHA because maybe they only like to focus on conventional loans, and then you go and submit an offer into a condo, it's FHA, it's not FHA approved, but no one did their due diligence. You get into escrow, you send the deposit, you pay for the appraisal, you pay for the home inspection. Now you're out over $1,000. And then in the end, you can't even buy it because the FHA didn't even approve it. You're screwed.
And it happens.
It happens.
It happens more than you would want to admit. It happens.
How much of a pain is it? Let's say we're going to go look at 10 condos. Isn't it a pain in the ass to figure out, is each complex approved? Yeah, it is. But do we give a shit? Absolutely not. Because we would rather have a list of 10 buildings that you send us, and then in the end, we have to tell you, hey, only 7 of those are FHA approved or VA or 5 or whatever. But better that than getting your hopes up, getting into escrow, and then losing money. And then your agent did a shitty job. Your lender did a shitty job, and now you can't even fire your agent.
And buddy, it is hard. It is hard when you go into contract. Like your people are planning things out. They're planning moves. They're thinking about the disappointment that comes from. So I think if it really comes down to going through, like Efren said it best, go through the process of interviewing. Don't just take who your family recommends, or you have a family member. This is my favorite one. We have a family member that's an agent. No, you don't. They did 3 transactions last year.
Yeah.
That is not a professional agent. And if you don't have the right agent working with you, sometimes they're not going to look at your offer.
Yep.
It's just a reality of it.
Experience counts.
It does matter. Especially, I think, in these markets, it's mind-blowing how competitive it is. And homeowners are, potential buyers are scared because it is competitive and they don't know. So I think that's the beauty of working with people that are educators first and really, really go above it and beyond of understanding your goals, because every family is different.
Yeah.
Every family's financial situation is different.
Yeah.
Their needs are different. So that's the meticulous process that you got to go through. And you take calls at 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. Like when I hear people go with big banks. Well, big bank, God. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you this, but if you call the bank at 7 o'clock at night on a Sunday, they're not answering your phone call.
And when our offer is usually submitted? Sunday night. Or Monday morning.
Hey, Oli, can you send us the pre-approval at 10 o'clock at night? So there's so much benefits because I like to take off the stress of homeowners, especially first-timers. They're working. They have families. And isn't that what you do? I know you're passionate about that.
Yeah.
Like you create that confidence that they have in the team that they're working with.
I want them to feel... I want them to know that we have only their best interests at heart.
Absolutely.
That's it. And nothing else matters at that moment. And that's why it's important that the first step is to talk to a lender, because even if maybe you might get pre-approved, but at that price point, that's not going to get you anything in this market. Most lenders will tell you, hey, well, you know what? Just wait 6 months and give us a call back. Fuck that. What do we do? All right. Hey, in 6 months, we can get you there. But you have to be committed and you have to do A, B, C, and D.
And you're going to have to sacrifice.
What are we doing? We're creating a roadmap. We're creating a roadmap for them. And we're keeping it simple. You have to make the sacrifice.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? All we need to do is increase your income by $200 a month. What can we do between now and 3-6 months to do that. Either get rid of this, pay this down, or maybe work a little overtime. And that way we have a history of overtime. We know all the ins and outs that it takes. The longest I have ever worked with somebody was 18 months. One of the most dedicated clients. But they went from absolutely no pre-approval to being a homeowner. 2 years later, selling the house for profit. When in their mind was, no, I could never be a homeowner. Yep. You know, so again, this episode, it talks about the crash, but it led us now to everything that you've heard, because there is no crash. In our opinion, there's no crash coming, especially here in California. The market continues to rise. As much as many people are leaving California, a lot of other savvy investors and homeowners, people that have actually gone through this process multiple times, they're starting to see the value of buying homes here in California, especially San Diego. We're getting people from LA and San Francisco giving up their homes over there and coming down to San Diego.
Have you seen our weather?
It's kind of nice.
It's kind of nice. It's a little nice.
Yeah. There are times I do like to enjoy, going to the beach in La Jolla and then enjoying the snow in Palomar in one day, and then eating some fish tacos and with a nice Julian apple pie all in one day.
Flexibility. San Diego, finest city. So, this was an incredible episode, and you're going to hear us occasionally talk about what we do for a living, but it's really about the roadmap. It's about the roadmap, your roadmap, the simple roadmap. Want to make sure that we're constantly bringing value, and that's the name of the game. It's like our content is all true. It's from the heart. It's from our life experiences. Yeah. We're real. We're raw, and that's what it's all about. So Oli Does Lending.
Efren Chacon with the Chacon Group here in San Diego. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 4.
Episode 3.
Oh, 3.
Episode 4 coming very, very soon. We're so excited. We're ready for episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the simple roadmap. We are out. We appreciate you. Take care.